holiday cash. Here's where to get it. MyBookie.ag is the place to score serious cash on your sports predictions. There are a lot of football, basketball, and hockey games. You can score big every day. Man up, play like the pros. The money line, side, or total. MyBookie.ag is your hookup for all your betting with all the lines and super fast payouts. Join now and MyBookie.ag will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Use promo code CHAMPION to activate the order. Don't leave the money on the table. MyBookie.ag, promo code CHAMPION, and your first deposit is matched to up to 50%. Play where the pros play because they get paid. MyBookie.ag.
Dan Batard.
Our thanks to Domonique Foxworth for sitting in with us. He has sucked at the reads today, but he don't think so. And even if he does think so, he doesn't think he's going to suck at the next one.
Stugotz.
Fox and Socks. Socks box knocks. Knocks and box. Fox and Socks. Knocks on Fox and Socks and box. Socks on Knox and Knox and box. Fox on Socks on box on Knox. Take that, Dr. Seuss.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, comparing rates to help you save. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today and find out how much Progressive could save you. Joe Scarborough going to join us in just a second here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Great hair. Can't wait to ask him about that hair. Here's your SportsCenter update. The U.S. Soccer Federation is looking into the possibility of hosting pre-World Cup international matches involving the United States, Italy, the Netherlands, Ghana, and Chile. That tournament sounds better than the actual World Cup.
It's all the teams that didn't make the World Cup. It's very Stugotzy of them. We'll just make our own World Cup.
That's a smart move. Yeah. More attractive teams. Conor McGregor issued a public apology via social media on Tuesday for his questionable actions during a Bellator MMA event this past weekend in Dublin.
Questionable actions. He was fighting.
Well, they're questionable.
He was fighting with a referee.
I guess they're no longer questionable if he apologized.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
And finally, Dr. Seuss invented the word nerd. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Mike Ryan, Mina Kimes has written 2 quarterback stories on Tyrod Taylor, Aaron Rodgers. They've both been hurt. We've been asking the question whether Mina Kimes, ESPN, the magazine writer, is cursing quarterbacks. You have reached out to Mina Kimes. What is her comment?
F.
Okay, very good. All right, bleep. Joe Scarborough, Morning Joe, airs 6 a.m. weekdays on MSNBC. You could stream his new holiday album, A Very Drumpf Christmas, this Friday. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it, Joe. You are a graduate of Alabama, but you also went to the University of Florida Law School. So who do you root for? Do you root for Alabama or Florida?
No. It's not even close. Florida fans, just maybe some of the most obnoxious fans I've ever come across. I'm a huge Alabama fan, and I've always cheered for them, even when it was hard to do in the 90s because Spurrier in Florida would kick us around the field year in and year out, and I got a heaping of abuse from it. But
so what is your least favorite fan base among all the ones? Is it University of Florida, or do you have one that you hate more than that?
Oh my God! Well, I'm an Alabama fan, so it's well, I'm not going to make friends, but my least favorite fan base comes from the city I live in. It's Yankees fans. I've been a Red Sox fan since '75, so. I won't even step into Yankee Stadium. People think I'm crazy, but I won't. I'm also a huge soccer fan. I suppose if I lived in England, it would be Man U fans, but because I'm a Liverpool fan. But anyway, the soccer, U.S. Soccer Federation, it's a great idea. Getting the Netherlands and Chile and Italy and the U.S. together, I would pay to watch those matches, but they really should focus on actually figuring out how to get a striker with a country with 320 million people.
You're right about that.
And get us into the World Cup. I mean, it's sick. I mean, it's absolutely sick that we have 320 million people in this country and we can't even qualify for the World Cup. I understand losing to Mexico, maybe 50%.
You want to go into the sports thing? I think you got a career in this sports gas bag thing.
No, I absolutely love sports, but you guys were talking about that, and actually some of my favorite teams to watch in the World Cup are not going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And Chile was extraordinary back in 2014 to watch, and I've always loved the Dutch, and
I've always loved the Dutch.
Italy.
Is that what just happened?
Yeah,
Wait a minute,
Dutch.
what just happened there? I've always loved the Dutch.
I've always loved the Dutch, baby. It's called Brilliant Orange. Come on, don't try to make it dirty. Don't try to make it dirty. That's Brilliant Orange.
I love the
Who tried to make it dirty?
They originated, beautiful football. So total football. So that would be pretty crazy. And I hate the way Italy plays football. So that would be a great tournament.
But you pay to see him play.
You're
You
just taking everyone out.
Yes, I
right
love
and
it.
left. Joe Scarborough with us. Airs 6 a.m. Wednesday morning. Joe does on MSNBC.
Well, I want to explore what you said earlier for just a second, Joe. Can you explain to us exactly how you feel, what you feel for Yankees and their fan base, for the Yankees and their fan base?
I think I've already explained it once. I'm going to get into. I live in the New York area. I'm just not. I've hated the Yankees since '75, so it's kind of hard to going into the mausoleum that they call Yankee Stadium now. At least when it was the old Yankee Stadium, I could take my kids there and say, "Hey, this is where Babe Ruth did this, or where Mickey Mantle did that." But now it's a mausoleum. The seats are like, cost you $8,000 to sit in a padded seat, and they're usually empty 99% of the time. I mean, come on. Are you guys Yankees fans?
No, I'm a Mets fan. I wanted to hear more.
We just wanted to get you fired up. We wanted to get you riled up, that's all.
I seriously have friends that come into town. I got one friend that's a huge Indians fan, and he said, hey, let's go see the Indians-Yankees. I said, I will get you tickets, but I do not go to Yankee Stadium. I will not walk into Yankee Stadium anymore. So, but I will say this. In Mike Barnacle got in a lot of trouble for saying it. If there were ever a Yankees team that somebody outside of New York could root for, other than the 2001 Yankees team after 9/11, this is a pretty damn exciting team to watch. And they seem to be good guys. Aaron Judge seems to be a pretty good guy, and let's hope he stays that way.
Who's the athlete that I can mention right now to Joe Scarborough? Morning Joe airs weekdays, 6 a.m., MSNBC. You can also stream his new holiday album, A Very Drunk Christmas, this Friday. But if I were to say one athlete name to you, what's the best athlete name I could give you right now that would make Joe Scarborough, spit at his phone and just be like, oh, I hate that guy?
Ronaldo. I despise him.
Why? Why Ronaldo? What's the matter? Because he's beautiful?
Why Ronaldo? He's like the most selfish player in the history of sports. The guy basically turns his head away from his teammates when they score. He's an extraordinary player, but I think main reason I hate the guy is because when he was at Man U, he'd always beat Liverpool in extra time.
I mean, it's just jealousy. I won't stand for
that's what Ronaldo says. You guys hate me because I'm handsome, I'm popular, and I'm better than everybody.
I mean, I don't understand how you can lash out at a guy for being self-centered when you have a TV show named after you.
Whoa!
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 Well,
whoa!
Hey, my last TV show is called Scarborough Country. So
Damn.
I got a real problem.
Yeah, I think
you are Ronaldo, my friend.
I think you see Cristiano. You see a little Cristiano in yourself.
You look in the mirror, and that's there. That's better than yours too, maybe. What?
I'm looking at the man in the mirror. I don't like what I'm seeing. It's just like my mom said when people hated me growing up. They're just jealous, Joe. I think maybe I'm just jealous of Ronaldo and how, I think it's the hair. It all comes down to the hair. I'm very insecure.
What goes into your hair? Like how much product?
Nothing, man. That's the thing. Nothing. I'm telling you, whatever people have, I'll occasionally put something in there, but I promise you, absolutely nothing. It's like a Brillo pad. I can take it wherever I want. It'll move in any direction I want to move it.
That's amazing. What an amazing gift. Can you tell us the place that you found yourself with public fame where you've been most uncomfortable, like where being you has been publicly unpleasant?
Let's see. In bathrooms, I find it unsettling to be at sporting events and being at Fenway and being over a urinal.
Yeah, that's not really what I meant, but I understand why you would end up there. Yeah.
I mean, people ask me questions about Donald Trump while I'm trying to get out and get back to the game. That's sort of uncomfortable. occasionally on airplanes when people start like yelling, "Hey, I know who you are! I know who you are!" and start asking me questions about Donald Trump. It's so you usually in confined spaces. The rest of the time, listen. If somebody watches my show and wants to come up and talk to me and tell me they like watching the show, that's
yes or
as
no.
you guys know, that's like a great honor. And I've got a lot of people say, "Well, why do you sit there and let them talk to you for so long?" I'm like, man, it's a great honor, and it's a very small price for what I get to do every day.
I hate it. Morning Joe airs 6 a.m. weekdays on MSNBC. You can stream his new holiday album, A Very Drunk Christmas.
I mean,
Friday.
here he is thinking Dan can relate.
No. Well, but this is what I wanted to ask you. When has it ever happened? Has it ever happened to Joe Scarborough that you were seated in a public place doing your bathroom business and somebody wants to talk to you? They saw you go into the stall.
Well, dude, not seated, but like at a urinal, yeah, that happened.
Okay, but I just didn't know whether it's ever happened to you where someone saw your beautiful hair go into a stall and they decided they wanted to talk to you outside.
Yeah.
Where you messed up was you said seated.
Well, no.
He's a hover guy.
Now, I will tell you they have hovered though, and people do hover off.
Who doesn't?
And
right.
We'll wait for me to get out, and then we'll say, "So, what do you think about Trump?" So it just sort of happens wherever me and I go.
Right.
You know?
Do you get any questions other than questions about Trump?
It sounds like you only get questions.
No, not these days. Not these days. It's all people ever want to talk about. I'll be like, I'll get, some of these people come up with videos and, try to get about whether they're for Trump or they're against Trump. And I always do the same thing. I keep walking and I talk about the Red Sox and talk about, their rotation and, who they need to get. And I just don't engage. But, again, most of the people are very nice, very cool about it.
You have mentioned the Stones and the Beatles as some of your favorite artists. Are there contemporary artists that you are fans of? And also, what are a couple bars of lyrics in your songs that you're most proud of?
Oh, boy, those are some tough questions. Like contemporary, well, I'm an old guy, so I grew up on the Stones, the Beatles, Elvis Costello, the Clash, groups like that. As far as more recent stuff goes, I don't know. Vampire Weekend, who sort of went away about 3 or 4 years ago. I've got a 14-year-old daughter, so I have to listen to Taylor Swift all the time. That's pretty good stuff. But I'm more of a classic rock guy, more of an indie rock guy.
Can we get some lyrics from Very Drunk Christmas that you're proud of?
Let's see. With Santa and his reindeer, if they were deported to Nepal, now little Jack and Katie won't have Christmas time at all. Who could have been so dastardly to make Christmas go kerplump? That orange beast that children call the Drump.
Very good. All right, Morning Joe airs 6 a.m. weekdays on MSNBC. You can stream his new holiday album, A Very Drunk Christmas, this Friday. Thank you, Joe, for being on with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. Go Sox.
I'm streaming that.
If I was the man I was 5 years ago, I would take a flamethrower to this place.
Tonight, when you get home after another stressful day, I felt like Domonique was too aggressive with Joe Scarborough. Too aggressive.
He was great. I thought he was great. I thought Domonique was great. I thought Joe was great.
I've watched the show for many years, and I've been a guest on the show once before, so I felt like I had a relationship with him, even though he probably has no idea.
An assumed rapport that was non-existent from my vantage point.
And also, I don't care what he's going to do. Beat me up?
Dan Batard.
What I'm telling you, this is what I'm telling you. You send 4 or 5 or 6 88-year-olds my way, and each one of those fights is going to look like Don Zimmer and Pedro Martinez. Each one of them. Send them one after another. It'd be like a kung fu movie.
Stugotz.
Send them one after another, and I'm telling you, I'm dusting a dozen 88-year-olds, one after the other. They're like zombies. They can come all at once, one after another, with my hands.
What if Hayden Fry is one of them?
All of them. 88 years old, unless Jeff Conine's father is there.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Get in touch with the show anytime through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed at Le Batard Show, at Stugotz790, at Foxworth24. Guys, it is time for Straight Talk. It is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts.
So Joe Scarborough has been writing songs for a long time. He's got 400 of them, and most of them have never been heard by anyone because he's been paralyzed by fear of judgment ever performing them. Quote, I know this doesn't sound very rock star, but I turned 50 and I said I'm going to die and my kids are never going to see this side of me. What just happened, Guillermo? Why are you guys laughing uproariously at that?
Allison just said under her breath, way to read the fact sheet after the interview.
Yeah. Man, Allison's in a bad place today. In a bad place.
Yep.
She's lashing out at everybody. I don't know what's happening over here.
She's cursing. It was highlighted.
Seems like every day she finds this bad place, though.
But I read the entire damn show sheet, and we just didn't get to it because we got sidetracked by talking sports and then Domonique being very aggressive with Joe Scarborough.
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
He was, and Domonique, yeah, you were aggressive.
I don't care. I ain't scared of Joe Scarborough. Why should you be?
I want to ask you guys this question. The reported details on Roger Goodell. Domonique Foxworth endorses the idea of Roger Goodell making $49.5 million a year with a private jet for life and health insurance for his entire family. He is one of the few I've heard say that sounds reasonable. I think that I'm going to be able to give you some details from Sally Jenkins that might change your mind, but go ahead and give why you think that Goodell should be paid.
Oh, man, you're setting me up. Well, I mean, first of all, I think that for the job that they wanted him to do, it's hard to argue that he has not accomplished those goals that was set out, I guess, 11 years ago when he took the job. He's made them all, and obviously you're not going to give all the credit to him, but he's captained this ship that's made them all billions and billions of dollars, and they've all been able to avoid public ridicule. He's been willing to take all that, and he's made mistakes along the way, but many of the mistakes that have been made were not by his own design or choices that he's made. They were things that were thrust upon him by the owners, and he's figured his way through it as best as he could. So, I mean, pay him his money. Like, he's doing a job, he's doing it well. If you can compare it to players, like, obviously players deserve to get paid more also, but that doesn't mean not paying him is any more right than it should be. Like, he's doing the job, so pay up.
All right, so here's Sally Jenkins on what CEOs make, because that's the argument. The argument is, do you pay him like a CEO, even though the owners, I don't think they think of him as their boss in any meaningful way. The height of this fight with Jerry Jones and Roger Goodell is because Jerry Jones feels like there's anarchy coming his way,
right.
Uprising, like, you work for me, dude. Goodell, you work for me.
Oh, the owners don't view Roger Goodell as their boss. Are you kidding me? They view him as their shield. But to Dominique's point, he's done a good job of that, I think.
Okay, but this is Sally Jenkins. I'm reading now. Why should he be paid twice as much as the chairman of Goldman Sachs? And she writes, for what? What exactly does this NFL commissioner do other than wrinkle the vast expanse of his forehead over the public relations disasters he creates, provoke fan rage, and refuse to fly commercial? If Jerry Jones's goal is to restore some fiscal sanity to his fellow owners, then well done. Someone has to try. Goodell, according to ESPN, has made a bid to raise his salary to $49.5 million, which would pay him more than the CEOs of IBM, Time Warner, Hewlett-Packard, Disney, Nike, Oracle, Yahoo, and J.P. Morgan Chase, among others. This is indecent. It is crazy, and it is irresponsible. Small wonder Jones threatened to sue the competition committee and wants more transparency on Goodell's contract. While the owners fight among themselves, the rest of us can only sit around slack-jawed with wonder at their total loss of good sense and perspective. Goodell already makes $30 million, more than Steve Wynn and the CEOs of AT&T, Microsoft, Exxon, Chevron, Johnson & Johnson, Dow Chemical. Executive compensation is emotionally charged subject. CEOs at the largest U.S. firms now make 271 times more than the average worker, according to the Economic Policy Institute, and 74% of Americans believe they are overpaid, a conviction that cuts across party affiliation. But at least the CEOs referenced above can be said to have created some value for their companies or shareholders. Bob Iger acquired Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm for Disney, so the stomach doesn't rebel quite as much at his $44 million package. In addition to a raise, Goodell reportedly has asked for a private jet in perpetuity and lifetime health insurance for himself and his entire family. This in a league in which NFL players have health benefits for just 5 years, yet face lifetime neurological damage. Goodell makes twice what Tom Brady makes. He makes 15 times more than the average NFL player. He makes more by millions than the CEOs of Ford, Prudential, General Electric, Morgan Stanley, and Goodyear. Again, for what? He's never had to take a hit and never had an idea, she writes.
Because he can get it.
Yeah, so I mean, it's...
But now he can't.
That is...
Well, no, he can. He's going to get it.
Well, but over Jerry Jones's plastic surgery face.
Sally Jenkins' case is unimpeachable. It's great. I'm not sure that I'm arguing that he deserves $50 million, but I'm arguing that he deserves the extension. How much they pay him, I can't determine. The one thing that I would say is she can't necessarily, or no one can say that he has not created value or he does not do things of value because it's not a publicly traded company. It's obviously quite opaque. So I'm not sure the things that he's doing. I have an idea of some of the things that he's had to do to maintain this job, but the things that he's doing are not public, and it's obviously been pretty good. Like these owners aren't rubes when it comes to business. Like they wouldn't have
They
paid
know what
him
they're doing.
Yes. They wouldn't have paid as much as they have
Okay.
if they don't think that he's providing some value.
Dan, and he's made them money.
Here you go, though.
I mean,
here's the
whether you think it's him or not, under his watch, they've made a lot of money.
Here's the killer paragraph from Sally Jenkins. Goodell's contract is profoundly out of line with even previous commissioners who did far more for their money. Pete Rozelle was a superb promoter, but owners never let the financial relationship with him get this far out of whack. Rozelle presided over massive growth and the advents of the Super Bowl and Monday Night Football, for which at his peak in 1974, the owners rewarded him with a handsome $200,000 a year, the equivalent of $1 million in today's money. He never made more than the game's greatest stars, the Joe Namaths and the O.J. Simpsons. Even Paul Tagliabue, under whom revenue grew to $6 billion in 2007, was paid just $10 million.
So one, I'll start with saying I'm wrong. Sally's right. I don't know that he deserves as much as he's getting. I'm arguing that he deserves an extension. And two, I think it'd be fairer to say as a percentage of revenue, not necessarily the raw number. So I'm not sure what that breaks down to. That's something that I can look into during the next break. But I just think that they should not be holding up his payment. How much they pay him, I don't know what that right answer is.
Dan Batard,
How is ESPN allowed this?
Stugotz.
They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. The U.S. Soccer Federation is looking into the possibility of hosting pre-World Cup international matches involving the United States, Italy, the Netherlands, Ghana, and Chile. Conor McGregor issued a public apology via social media on Tuesday for his questionable actions during a Bellator MMA event this past weekend in Dublin. And finally, if you are nominated for an Oscar and lose, you get a $50,000 consolation prize. I'd rather lose.
I think you win and get other things that are worth more than $50,000.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, you get to market movies as Academy Award-winning actor. It brings up your salary.
It's got more than $50,000.
You're nominated, you lose, you still get all the movies because you were nominated. You have to be a good actor to be nominated, and you still get the $50,000. I mean, and who has won more $50,000 checks than Meryl Streep?
Overrated.
Yep. This Sports Center is brought to you by JCPenney. Guys, the holiday challenge is here. Get everything on your list for less than you think. Refresh your holiday wardrobe with 60% off men's sport coats, top coats, and dress pants starting at $23.99. Hurry in. JCPenney. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
How are you supposed to argue with that? How are you supposed to argue when someone says, I'd rather lose, just write me a $50,000 check? Like, what am I? Like, it's just.
I mean, finish the play, Merrill. Like, it's the fourth quarter.
Exactly.
Got the ball on the 1 yard line.
Yep.
Don't run a quarterback sneak from 2 yards away with 3 seconds left.
Throw the ball.
Yeah.
Texter writes in, and biases are a funny thing, right? Because I think a lot of people were listening to that Roger Goodell, the idea of Roger Goodell making $49.5 million, and I believe most of the people object to that, and they object to that largely because they are broke. So there are biases there. You don't feel like Roger Goodell deserves that money because look at how you have to work for your money. So there's that.
Right. He's got some smart people around him, right? Like, they know what the market is. He knows what his value is. It might not be that, but it's something close to that.
Well, but no, it's just really hard to make an argument on behalf of Roger Goodell when you're a year removed from his salary needs to be cut or he needs to be fired, that now he deserves that kind of raise. Because all that's happened since in the year that we've been yelling about him being fired is declining ratings and less money. Like that, it's really hard to make the argument in the last year that Roger Goodell deserves that percentage of raise.
I wouldn't pay him that, but this goes back to the point you were making several segments ago about how you're able to separate your feelings for a particular person with them being able to do something that's good. So, I don't have a great affinity for Roger Goodell, obviously.
You have your own set of biases as it relates to Roger Goodell. I just learned that Roger Goodell wrote a letter on behalf of Domonique Foxworth to get him into business school.
Yeah, we can't. There's no secrets here?
Nope. Was that a secret?
Feeling Cody-like around here.
Was that a secret?
I'm calling.
Well, listen, I got to be honest with you because there are no secrets around here, but I felt like when Dominique told us that.
Was that a secret?
He told us that in confidence. I do feel like he told us that in confidence.
I'm out here marketing myself as union guy, man of the people, take on Roger Goodell, and then you just go and blurt that.
You can't tell Dan anything.
Yeah, you haven't learned that
completely
yet.
undercut him that he didn't deserve to get into business schools just because of the letter the commissioner
Well, it was DeMar
wrote.
Smith and Bob Kraft also wrote letters on his behalf.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. You just ruined the poor guy. I bet you when Dominique started here, he thought that I was the guy that he couldn't trust.
Was that really a secret?
Oh, man, you got
Yes,
such a
it
bad
was.
gauge about it.
Secret, it's not a secret, but it's like,
Dominique, be honest. Was it a secret or not? Did you tell us that in confidence?
If I had asked you, no, be honest to this question. If I had asked you, can I say that? You would have said no?
No, it's fine. I guess, whatever.
You don't seem happy about it.
It's something that you've never volunteered on your own before.
I know better than to wrong Dan le Batard. He is one of the most powerful men at ESPN. So, Dan, whatever you do is fine. No big deal. Tell him all my business. Why don't you put my social security number out there? Go ahead.
Bring me a potted plant in here so I could fully exert this power. What? I didn't realize that was a secret. That's my bad.
It's not a secret. You call it a secret. It's not a secret. It's not a secret. People know it. It's a letter. It was out there. Dean Leopold has a letter.
Have you ever said it on any platform before?
I think it's a tribute to Dominique that he's actually been critical of Roger Goodell despite that letter, because he has been. He has been.
I've been mostly critical of Roger Goodell and Robert Kraft and all those guys. They already wrote the letter now. You can't take it back. I already graduated from business school. What you going to do to me now? I already got that degree hanging up. Well, it's not hanging on the wall. In the basement, in my house, in a box. Got it. Can't have it back. Never lost.
Do you have the letters still? Are they framed or anything? Or
nope. No, they were. I think they might be on a PDF on an old computer or something because it was never a handwritten letter. But it served its purpose. I don't need to keep it now.
A texter writes in, you missed it when Sally Jenkins shot herself in the foot. She states clearly in her article that the average CEO makes 270 times what their average employee makes. Roger Goodell only makes 15 times what his average employee makes. Do you think Roger Goodell deserves 15 times? He ain't an owner.
I just don't think that those are the right metrics to measure a salary by. I think it should be, and I don't know the answer to this, but I think it should be a percentage of revenue, and then there's a lot of goodwill stuff that we don't necessarily know. And when you have a monopoly, which they have, and probably a ton of secrets, it's valuable to keep that guy in house. It's much more, so he has more leverage, and it's just the way it is.
That's what Billy and Stugotz have been arguing off air, that pay that man. He knows where the secrets are. Just pay him.
Yeah, it's what I said forever. First off, I'd call Jerry Jones and say, hey, COB, get this deal done, or I'm unleashing a book. That's it. Tell all on you.
Yeah,
blackmail.
Well, other CEOs also get stock options and stuff. He may be making more than Bezos annually in salary, but that guy's a billionaire. He's not.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. You do get stock options for companies, and he's not getting any ownership of any of these teams. I'm sure he would take this salary way down if he could get a percentage of every team in the league.
Right. Sally referenced Steve Wynn. I find it really hard to believe Steve Wynn's making less money than Roger Goodell. That's just his salary as a CEO.
The part that's offensive to me, who doesn't reach around in other people's pockets and isn't jealous of the money that others make. The part that's hard to explain for me is I feel like, based on my knowledge of what he does, that he really is a glorified PR director. That with some power to punish And I just feel like...
I think we have no idea what he does.
No, I think I have some idea, and I think that's undervaluing the amount of work that he does. I mean, he has to manage all of those big egos.
I mean, if you only assume he's a glorified PR director, no wonder you think he's doing terrible at his job.
That's right. That's the other thing. It's like he's been fairly
Like, you think you could do it. You think...
I don't know.
But hold on a second. We have someone who's armed with a lot more information sitting in our studio, and he's telling you it's not just that.
I don't think I could do it, but I think you could. I don't have the skills to do that, but I do believe that you could do that, and I believe a lot of people could do that. And furthermore, I believe a lot of people could do it better than he's done it.
I could do that, right?
No, you couldn't do it either. You would be a real disaster in that spot. A real disaster, like unprecedented. You would flame out in scandal and controversy in 7 seconds.
I would have gotten the Patriots off, though. And backdoor deals with everyone. You are right.
Backdoor deals with everyone.
Bat mitzvahs are expensive.
Like Bob Kraft would be paying for his bat mitzvah, his daughter's bat mitzvah.
Oh, absolutely. Brady be showing up to it.
So much scandal. Yeah. So much scandal.
Dan Batard.
A standing ovation for Meryl Streep. Hey, come on. She's been nominated 20 times, and she's won 3. She's a 150 career hitter. Very bad per. Streep.
Stugotz.
150, Dan. I get you back, sent back to the minors within a week. She's Buddy Biancalana. My sense is you agree with me on this.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Guy writes in, you guys, Domonique Foxworth in with us today, got into Harvard Business School because Roger Goodell, Bob Kraft, and DeMaurice Smith wrote letters on his behalf.
Only reason.
Texter writes in, you guys place way too much emphasis on interceptions in evaluating quarterback play. It's like you guys never watch Brett Favre play. I don't think it's us that's doing that. I think it's the league. Brett Favre today would be less valuable the way that the league is going, and their placement on please do not turn over the ball under any circumstance. Ben McAdoo got that job because he got Eli Manning to throw fewer interceptions. Adam Gase got that job because he got Jay Cutler to throw fewer interceptions.
But I do think there are many times, like Dan, we say all the time we have no idea what we're watching. Now that might not be the case for Domonique Foxworth. He knows exactly what he's watching every single Sunday. We don't. Like sometimes quarterbacks throw interceptions and it's not their fault.
Agreed.
Wide receiver runs the wrong route.
That's all fine. But if you're Tyrod Taylor and you're Alex Smith or you're Colin Kaepernick, you're playing a style of football that is purposely meant to never throw interceptions. Go ahead and be okay with punting, and that's something that's more valuable than it used to be. Would Brett Favre today be allowed to be as valuable as he was back then when we're not doing some of these computations and coaches and general managers weren't playing so afraid?
No, I mean, the game was different and the way that people thought about the game was different. The correlation between wins and losses and turnovers it's very high, and people started to realize that, and now that's caused the game to change. And maybe some team will be smart enough to go in the other direction and not put such a premium on that and try to have a more volatile offense and succeed. But I think as it is now, the low interception quarterback is a coveted commodity.
We're talking about this because Tyrod Taylor was benched today, and he's got the lowest interception rate in the history of the league for someone with as many passes as he throws.
It's upsetting when you feel like the rules don't apply to you in the same way that they apply to other people, or that suddenly the rules have changed on you. So you're right about that. Everyone's like, we want a quarterback that's safe with the ball and smart. Like, you don't have to make the big play. Be okay with punting. We have a quarterback who does that and is best in the league at that. You're not good enough to start.
Even though we've got a winning record.
Yeah, it feels unfair.
Even though we were a surprise team in the league 2 weeks ago.
Right.
But it seems like they haven't wanted. I'm not excusing it.
Hold on
a
second, just a second, Stugotz.
White guys! White.
My bad.
Continue.
It's okay. I'm not expecting you to see what's going on there.
Continue.
Wait, when I'm done laughing at that.
But that is symbolic of your general obliviousness. You were going to thunder in with a point without realizing that one of the undercurrents here was this.
White guys!
You really don't think I realized that? You really don't think I realized that?
Hold on a second. I really don't think you realized that. Let's do it one more time. Domonique, here's another thing you didn't realize. You're going to be off cue on this as Domonique and I sing this correctly.
You were saying?
Singing that
correctly? you blew your arm on there. Peterman's too many syllables.
Yeah, you
right?
go,
Nathan.
You're terrible at cheers,
better.
man.
That was better. Yeah, I should have. Let's try it again. Yeah, that's much better. Sorry, my bad.
That's why you went to Harvard Business School.
Yeah, exactly.
Stunning that Domonique would have better musical cadence and rhythm and. Yeah.
White guys. What?
Never lost. I forgot the point I was going to make.
Nathan Peterman is starting for the Buffalo Bills this weekend. Tyrod Taylor to the bench. It is a fairly amazing thing. They've got a winning record, and he's good on deep balls, and he doesn't throw interceptions. Bench.